Welcome back into the film room, guys. I'm your host, Eric Turner. And as always, I'm joined by Anthony Prohaska from Disguise Coverage. Anthony, welcome back to the show and welcome back to the country, brother.
Thank you. I was in Italy last week. I joked, but actually it was not really a joke. If the Bills, because the Bills won against Miami when I was in Italy, if they had lost to Washington when I was back here, I would have considered myself a jinx. I wouldn't have done the post game anymore. I was going to move to Italy, whatever it takes to get the Bills to win. But yeah, I'm happy to be back in the States and happy that we get to do some awesome film breakdown of a tremendous offensive performance for Josh Allen and the offense as a whole, as the Bills won handily en route to being 2-1 and got some good momentum going forward.
Yeah, Sean McDermott got to go against his old mentor in Ron Rivera. Obviously, they go back a long ways. It was a good game, man. I know we're going to talk about Josh Allen and this offense, but it was a complimentary football game. I mean, pretty much all phases contributed, and the defense gave the offense some really good field position a few different times. 3 turnovers. So they did help out the offense, and the offense just cashed it in. And we talk about cash. Josh Allen was on point, man. He was cashing in on just about every throw in this game. And we're going to break down a bunch of those plays, but I want to start from the top. I want you to talk about Dable, his, plays, his calls, some of the control and concepts that he had in this game. And then I want you to also share your impressions about the offensive line and Josh Allen behind that offensive line.
Sure. So, starting with Dable, you and I were just talking about him offline before we went live here, and Greg and myself and Aaron talked about him and talked about the offensive execution on the post game. I thought it was a really well game plan game from Brian Dable, both in terms of prep and what the plan was going into it, and then execution and adjustments throughout the game. Again, what you and I were just speaking about literally right before we went live, what Washington's defense does, they've got a lot of strength up front, but they do not have the strength in the linebacking core and in the safety position in order to really stand strong against a passing attack like the Bills. And one of my favorite charts from this past weekend was the next gen chart of Josh Allen's throws, his spray chart. And he basically just had so many throws in the short to intermediate in the middle, just attacking the linebackers, attacking the safeties. And Dable had so many plays that were designed to attack the middle of the field, combined with some pre-snap motions and things to get guys out of position, to get them caught and have the defense be set up for failure, take advantage of the skill set on the offense. And it was just a really pinpointed, focused effort from the Bills that showed Dable was like, okay, this team is bad at this thing. We are going to attack it nonstop. And it led to 43 points. And as far as the offensive line, again, you and I were talking about it offline. I don't think they played terrible. I don't think they played great. Cody Ford definitely had a rough game, which was disappointing to see. Darrell Williams, I don't think was as bad as people want to make it seem like he was, especially against Chase Young. I thought Chase Young took himself out of position a lot, and Darrell Williams kind of just escorted him to being out of position. But I thought a lot of the success from the offensive line, no disrespect to the offensive line, but a lot of their success was due to Josh Allen, his movement in the pocket, his poise in the pocket, his manipulation of the pocket. It was truly a tremendous thing to see the technique and poise and calm that he operated with in the pocket, especially in contrast to what the talk has been recently for, sugar high Josh Allen is back. He can't play in front of a crowd or in front of the home fans. And what we saw was a calm, cool, collected, technical effort in the pocket from him, combined with some really strong throws and some great reads. And I thought he helped out the offensive line a lot in conjunction with, some things by design up front to limit the effectiveness of Washington's front.
Yeah, this was one of those games on offense where, the game plan was on point and then the execution was even better. It really got, we saw one of the comments about the Bills getting their groove back, getting Josh Allen's groove back. And that's what it did. It really got Josh Allen in rhythm. There were some nice 0 to 1 step drops, quick reads, quick throws early on, got other guys involved early. And I'm with you, man. I thought the offensive line, it was all right. I think most of the pressure that Josh felt was from Cody Ford. I want to go over that in a second, but even when there was pressure, Josh was able to find an escape lane, extend the play, find a platform to throw from, whether it was inside the pocket or outside the pocket. And he really just let rushers go by him, and he was his vintage self, right? He was the Josh Allen of 2020, where he was able to make plays, and they were big plays down the field, usually 10, 15 or more yards down the field. So he was getting those chunk plays as, you know, the Washington football team weren't able to really bring him down, you know. And so, yes, there were some pressures given up, and primarily from Cody Ford. I think Deron Payne got like 12 pressures. He led them. And so that pressure was up the middle, as you'll see here in a second. But I thought just the play calling to the execution, it was perfect, man. And you really can't ask for a better offensive game when you talk about the Bills' ability to, you know, schematically put their players in position to score, but also them capitalizing on those big moments, those moments where the defense comes in and makes a play for you, gets an interception or turnover, and the next thing you know, you have offense on the field driving down there, scoring points. So it was really good execution. So let's take a look at some of those offensive line statistics, courtesy of Pro Football Focus, because as we talked about leading into this, O-line was good considering who they were up against and what the storyline of the game was. But I thought that, yes, it was Cody Ford that gave up a lot of the pressure. And you're going to see it here. If you look at the percentages here of dropbacks with some responsibility. So PFF tries to kind of divvy up who was responsible for that pressure surrendered. And in this game, you can see right guard, 57.1%. So that's a large chunk attributed to Cody Ford in this game. There was a lot of talk of Chase Young and how he beat Darrell Williams, but you guys have to remember, schematically, the Bills are a 0 and 1 step drop team from shotgun. So they don't like to drop Josh Allen 10 yards deep. No, they like to hang out in that 7 to 7.5 yard area, at most 8 when you get to those 3-step drops. But they like that 0-1 step drop. They lead the league right now in 0-1 step drops from shotgun. So they like to keep him in the pocket. And the way those teams so far are defending Josh Allen, Anthony, is something we talked about, is they're playing 7 in coverage. They're rushing 4. Teams only blitzed Josh Allen 18% of the time this year, as opposed to 37 last year. So that is complete opposite ends of the spectrum when you talk about how teams are trying to attack Josh Allen this year. So if you have 7 in coverage consistently, and you only have 4 guys rushing, and you have a guy like Chase Young, who is a world beater, and he's great, and he got Darrell Williams on the outside hip a bunch of times, but he's running right by him. Well, guess what? You have Josh Allen. Now you have him out in space, and he was making plays. It works out for their favor. It's a way now that the Bills are able to dictate if they have the good plays called, and they got Josh with his head on right. Because if he's mentally correct, he brought it this game, if he's like that, it's going to be hard to defend him, whether you're blitzing him or you're dropping 7 in coverage.
Oh, for sure. And, Allen, I think last year really established how well he can succeed against the blitz. And I think that's why, exactly to your point, you're seeing teams blitz basically 20% less this year than they did last year, including the playoffs. And this game against Washington was, a prototypical example of exactly what you said. Washington, they really don't need to blitz because of the front that they have.
Right.
Allen and Payne and Young, they're fantastic. But if you don't get there with your front 4, or if you're Chase Young and you're winning, quote unquote, I don't want to make it seem like he wasn't winning, but he was winning to the point that he just took himself out of the play time and time again. And he would either get so far upfield that Josh Allen would just take 1 step up and Chase Young was out of the play, or Chase Young would cut inside so fast and Allen would just step around him and there would just be no contain on that right side for Josh. It really showed how dangerous Josh Allen can be. If you're going to sit back and play coverage, that's fine, but you've got to get to him a la what the Pittsburgh Steelers did. And if you didn't, and he's able to navigate the pocket and or just have time, he can carve you up. And I think that's part of, we always like to talk about narratives and how we bust narratives. I think a lot of people started to think, well, if you sit back and play coverage, Josh can't beat the coverage. If you sit back and too high, or if you drop 7 or 8, he can't beat the coverage. It wasn't so much that as it was, if you're dropping 7 and 8 and your front 3 or 4 are getting legitimate pressure, that's not a Josh Allen thing. That's in every
Like
quarterback thing.
Hayward, Watt,
Yes,
Ingram. Yeah,
correct.
that's gonna happen. Like they're
Yeah, that's a
good.
problem. They're fantastic. And if they're going to compress the pocket and get sacks and genuine pressure, that hurts not just Josh Allen, that hurts every quarterback. And Washington was unable to do it. Allen navigated the pocket tremendously, and again, the physical and the mechanics were there. But like you mentioned, and I love that you mentioned it already, the mental side of his game was really showcased against Washington, from his decision making to his eye manipulation to his progression and his reads from the pocket and outside the pocket. Just a really strong game from him overall, and really attributed to what Washington wanted to do on defense, just ultimately didn't work at all.
Yeah, Josh got them in really good plays. And more importantly, like you said, he got them out of bad plays. You saw a lot of RPOs. You saw a lot of RPO screens where if the box numbers weren't in the favor of the run game for the Bills, what was he doing? He was just throwing that screen to Cole Beasley, which is why you saw Beasley with so many targets. So RPOs are great. Play action plays, those shot plays down the field worked really well. I liked some of the runs that had tags on the backside. Again, they'll call a run, but they'll have a smoke route or a wide receiver screen attached to it, where if Josh doesn't like the box, he's just throwing it out there to Beasley. Just really good situational football from Josh Allen, especially it was, encompassed in the end of half drive, right? I mean, talk about that real quick. Give us the context of that drive, because at the end of the first half, when the Bills got the ball back and they were able to drive down there and get some points, it eased my mind, because at that point, Washington had the momentum.
Oh, for sure. They get the huge screenplay, which was a tremendous play from Antonio Gibson. And then the McKenzie, decision-making blunder that leads to Washington get the ball. Heineke makes a tremendous run. It's 24-14. Bills Mafia is getting nervous. I'm already thinking about how I can permanently move to Italy so I can stop the jinx and the Bills can win. Like, I'm freaking out. And this was a hugely important sequence. I tweeted it yesterday about it. So it's 21-14 Bills towards the end of the first half. Washington has the ball. They've just scored 14 unanswered. It was 21-0. Now it's 21-14. Washington has the ball. They've got the momentum. And there's 5 minutes, 27 seconds left in the first half. Plenty of time to go down and get potentially a touchdown, but at least a field goal, riding high into the second half. But that's not what happened. Washington gets forced into a 3-and-out by the Bills defense. Then the Bills get the ball. They go down. They get a field goal. Washington gets the ball again. The Bills stop them again, get the ball back at their own 20, and they go 5 plays, 51 yards in 26 seconds to get another field goal and go into halftime up 27-14. Exactly what Rick says there. That drive was amazing. I thought that was a hugely important aspect, not just for the fans, but just for the sake of that game, as you mentioned, that calming aspect. The momentum was all on Washington's side. 2 huge plays combined with a blunder. They're feeling good. They're rocking that pylon and making tremendous plays in the end zone. They get the ball back. Everything is on their side all of a sudden. And instead, the Bills defense snuffs out any threat, and the Bills go down and get 2 scores to increase their lead to 13 instead of only a touchdown. So they get a double-digit lead going into the half. And again, it wasn't just that the Bills scored. It was that they took potential points away and stopped Washington from scoring. It wasn't as big as the drive sequence that ended the wild card game, the first half of the wild card game against the Colts, but I thought it was very impactful like that. You got a team who's got the momentum and kind of do some damage, and they do nothing, and you get the ball and you're aggressive and you attack and you come away with points multiple times. I think that's also a big point too. Greg mentioned it on the post game, the aggressiveness of Sean McDermott. That punt from Washington went into the end zone. The Bills are starting on their own 20 with not a lot of time left. That could have been an easy, we're up 24-14. Let's just kneel it. Let's go into the half. Let's collect ourselves. Nope. They come out. They attack. Washington is playing too far upfield. They're given too much space underneath. The Bills attack. They don't even have to use all their timeouts. They get out of bounds. Beautiful sequence. I thought a killer sequence for Washington, and really snuffed out any momentum that they had going into the end of the first half, combined with putting actual points on the board and having an impact on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and when you talk about impact, we talked about Cole Beasley, and you've heard me all week talk about how the Bills have to start to get others involved early, and they did. They got Davis Sanders, Knox, even some of the running backs in the passing game. They got guys involved, other guys outside of Diggs and Beasley involved early, which in turn opened up things for their main targets. And that's why you can see a lot of the targets, Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs, the targets went their way. But early on, it was guys like Manny Sands. And since I say Manny Sands, I have to ask your impressions on him and what he's meant to this offense so far, because it's Manny fucking Sands.
Oh, you said it. I love it. I love the Manny Sands. I love the effing in between it. Beautiful. I was really hyped when the Bills brought in Sands, and we've talked about it on the show. I've talked about it a lot on Disguised Coverage and on Twitter. His ability to leverage coverage in zone and then be able to beat man, his versatility to play outside, inside, the smarts that he has in between the ears. Thought it was such a tremendous ad for this offense. And this game really showcased what he can do. But also in another aspect, he was a downfield threat multiple times in this game. That first touchdown on the rollout was a downfield play and a tremendous catch. We're going to talk about the play from Allen's perspective. But Manny goes down and he doesn't even body catch it off the turf. That's just straight hands from Manny Sands, and it's beautiful. He got the deep ball up the seam later in the second half. That was a nice throw from Allen, but a really good route from Sanders. Him being a vertical threat is just a bonus to this offense. Him being able to work in between the numbers and outside the hashes in that short to intermediate. He's a quarterback-friendly receiver in terms of his understanding of what defenses are trying to do and how the offense needs to succeed to beat those defenses. But what was nice again about this game, we saw more vertical presence from him. If he can add a bit of taking the top off the defense and any vertical presence, that's a big threat to his game and to this offense as a whole. And, Diggs's presence opens things up for other receivers. And as Greg pointed out there, saying definitely been surprised how many shots they've taken to him, pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by that as well. We had the one in the Pittsburgh game that Josh just missed, but Diggs opens things up for the rest of the receivers. If Manny can have that vertical presence in his game, he opens things up for Diggs and the entire rest of that offense underneath, but also potentially himself deep, because defenses, regardless of what route Stephon Diggs is running, they're going to account for Stephon Diggs. So Manny's going to get those one-on-one deep chances, and he's taken advantage of them so far this year, especially in this game against Washington.
Yeah, he was fantastic. I mean, he's a guy that has, even at 34, has all the traits to win. Yeah, whether you want speed, quickness, pace to route running itself. I mean, and then the hands. You saw him scoop that up off his back knee. I mean, it was amazing. Again, we're going to break it down. And one of the guys early on that Josh Allen targeted was Gabriel Davis on a 3rd and long. It's a 3rd and 15 call here. But again, I want you guys to pay attention to Diggs and Beasley, where they line up in all of these plays and how they complement the other weapons, and who is the primary or secondary targets on the plays, and just how they just complement each other really well. So on this play, they put Diggs in the slot to the top of the screen, and it's just a beautiful design because it's quarters coverage. So you're going to have 4 of the defensive backs right here. They're all playing over the top. So as Diggs gets vertical here, you're going to see the corner and the safety. They're going to carry this guy deep, right? I mean, he's going to lift the coverage, and it's going to open up things for Gabriel Davis. Davis is going to sit right here, right between these two defenders right here. And normally this is a dagger concept. Normally the Bills would run this across the middle, but Josh kind of struggled with those last year. So they tweaked it a little bit. They run mirror curl routes. So he sits right in that window. And then Josh, we're going to talk about it from the end zone angle, but Josh finds a window, finds a platform, and then just rifles this pass from the 14-yard line to Gabriel Davis at the 38-yard line.
Vapor trail.
On a rope. Yeah, a vapor trail, as Chris Simser said earlier today. Just an amazing throw. But talk about the play, and then also, I mean, the pocket manipulation here by Josh Allen.
That's the big one for me, to start it off and lead off, top or props to Stephon Diggs for taking the top off a little bit and lifting that coverage. But it's the pocket manipulation right here. When you see Josh Allen drop back, he gets that pressure right in his face almost immediately from Cody Ford. His ability to step up and avoid the pressure, but not only avoid the pressure. Look at how good he does it. Watch his footwork and watch where he keeps that ball. The ball is maintained in the center of his chest. He keeps the security. He takes the hop forward. He keeps his eyes downfield. We're going to say this multiple times in this episode. This is almost like literally textbook, what you're supposed to do in the pocket. We've seen Tom Brady do this for years. We've seen Aaron Rodgers do it. There's a little more hop and athleticism to Allen's game, but the presence of mind to keep his eyes downfield and then have that good footwork and to keep the ball close to his chest to avoid the defender from swiping at it. Picture perfect throw. This is also a route too. I wanted to shout out Gabriel Davis. I mentioned Manny Sands being a quarterback friendly receiver. This is a quarterback friendly route from Gabriel Davis, sitting perfectly in that window, right in the hole, making himself available, increasing that surface space of his chest, making his target nice and big for Josh Allen. And then, like you mentioned, Allen rifles it a gajillion yards downfield between both guys. It's just a really well executed play all around, from the concept to the execution, from Diggs taking the top off, Davis sitting in the hole. But again, none of it happens without the pocket manipulation and awareness of Josh Allen to sidestep this first rusher, step up, reset himself, and then make a quality throw.
Yeah, just when I watched this, I mean, I had to watch it just like this. I had to watch it about 25 times because, to pick this play as the first play of the breakdown, it was easy because that's incredible. I mean, that is just an incredible play on 3rd and 15.
Yes, that's what I was going to mention. 3rd and long.
Yeah, 3rd and long to a guy that, again, has been banged up a little bit, but he trusts him. Obviously, they had a great year last year, but that was just amazing pocket manipulation by Josh Allen, and something that in week 1, that pressure was coming up the middle and he was kind of skirting out the back of the pocket. We saw that a lot, and it took a couple games for him to actually start to trust his offensive line. And even though Cody Ford got beat there, he again found a platform to throw from and realized, hey, okay, one guy got beat, but I still can make a throw from the pocket here. He does. It was just a really nice play. So move on to the next play here. You're going to see the Bills shift to a 3-by-1 set to the bottom of the screen here. And they set up, and you're going to see it's, again, getting other guys involved early. A rhythm and read and throw here to Manny Sands, who's the isolated receiver in a nasty alignment to the top of the screen. This is a simple curl swing route. It's an easy read. Josh Allen is reading. Josh Allen is trying to find who the flats defender is. And I have him circled there, but he is processing this pre to post snap. Looks like a one high set. You see Landon Collins, I believe, circled. He's kind of in between whether he's dropping down into the box or what. But so it's just an easy read. He needs to find the flats defender, and then he's going to work off of that. Well, that flats defender screams to the flats. And what that does as he's screaming to the flats, that just opens up that easy window to Manny Sands. He curls it up. This guy's in off coverage. This linebacker, because of 3-by-1 passing strength being this side, has to slide over. So there's a nice little window for Josh. Easy rhythm and read throw here by Allen.
You hit it right on the head at the end there. Easy rhythm, read, throw. I love that it's a quick decision, an accurate throw, literally how you draw this play when you're putting it in an install or drawing it up on the whiteboard and you're talking to the quarterback, like literally, if this flat defender screams at the flat, you do this, and he hits Manny Sands. This angle is beautiful. You see the safety who Allen's read is. You see him scream and go right out to the back, coming out of the backfield. As soon as he vacates that spot, Allen reads it. And more importantly, again, Manny Sands knows what that read is. So as soon as he sees the safety flash and scream to that flat, he immediately turns. And again, he did what Gabriel Davis did on the previous play. Gets himself square, nice open target, chest to the quarterback friendly route, quarterback friendly receiver, smart heady play from Sands, great throw and read from Josh Allen, solid concept from Daboll. Again, exactly how you draw it up. And I also love, you mentioned the shifting to the 3-by-1 before this play started. I love those pre-snap motions and movements in today's NFL, and especially from the Bills. Anything you can do to add an identifier and help with your pre-snap read. They do that here on this play. Allen knows what coverage is coming. He sees that it's zone. He recognizes what the concept is. Singletary leaks out of the backfield. The safety screams towards him. Manny makes a quick turn. Boom, easy pitch and catch. And that's the type of stuff that, athleticism, arm strength, whatever, these are the types of things that can win you games because it's easy. It's almost like free yards. And if Allen can take those free yards consistently, adding it in with his intangibles and the fundamentals he's picked up, it's a dangerous offense we have here.
Yeah, one last footnote, and I want to talk about it from this angle. Watch the pace to Sanders' route. He doesn't just run full speed and curl it up. What does he do? He throttles down. He's just waiting for that window. And see, that delays, that forces this guy to declare, and it gives Josh time to read that. If this guy is slow pace and not fast flowing to the flats like he should be, then it's going to muddy up the read. But, Sanders is waiting him out. You can see him right there kind of hesitate, slow play it. Okay, that guy's committed. Turn, QB friendly, up the field. Nice throw inside so that he can get some yards after the catch. Easy play, easy rhythm and read by Josh Allen and Emmanuel Sanders. So on to the next play we go. If this would work. Okay, let's go here. Come on now. All right. So this was that play action pass to Diggs underneath. So, okay, we saw the Bills go to other complimentary guys, Davis and Manny Sands on the prior play. Well, now they're going to use the concept to set up Diggs. Okay. So you saw it the last couple of weeks. You saw it several times against Miami, those deep crossing routes that I have outlined here, double post right here. And then you have that crossing route coming over the middle right there. Bills run it a lot. It's one of Josh Allen's favorite throws, favorite plays. They run it a lot. Well, this time they use that. And more importantly, they use Knox, who's in line at tight end. They use Beasley and they use Gabriel Davis to set up Diggs. So they're running that double post wave concept over the middle, lifting the coverage, and it allows Diggs to come open because as this guy gets across the middle, you're going to see a cut from this safety here. But more importantly, I want you to watch this guy right here, this linebacker in the middle of the screen. Watch what he does as Knox runs that crosser. He is the underneath help on this slice right here, on this crosser, right? Well, that's an easy read. Josh is looking at that guy and saying, oh my God, that guy is vacating. He's even turning his back to me. And now I got Diggs wide open across the middle. So using the concept, one that the Bills have shown 100 times in the last year or so, to set up Diggs, to get your playmaker open, just phenomenal work by Dable. But again, another nice play from Josh Allen. Play action, deep drop. Now you see here comes Chase Young screaming off the edge. Josh knows that. Josh knows, and he practiced this during the week. Hitch up in the pocket. Now, this is where Josh has to hit Diggs. He has to hit him. Generally, when you're running these drive concepts, you're told to hit that wide receiver on that shallow cross right inside the tackle box in that area. You see Josh do that, quick set and throw it to Diggs, and then Diggs does a little magic and makes Bostic miss right here for some extra yardage. So really nice concept and a way to get Diggs open for the pass.
Yeah, this was another almost like free yards type of thing. And I love the decision making from Josh. I think you spoke to everything perfectly, but I love that, again, Josh took what the defense gave him, dump it down to one of your playmakers, let him, run for some yards after catch, make like a 5-yard throw that turns into a 10, 12-yard gain. I love the little dead leg shimmy and stop there from Diggs to make sure he can get the first down. And again, quality, heady play from Josh Allen. We're going to show some more things that showcase his athleticism or his arm strength. But again, this is another one that shows the strong mental side of Josh Allen's game, the headiness of his game. Nice hitch up in the pocket, makes the read, takes what the defense gives him. Simple, easy. Again, almost exactly how you drew it up to the concept that Dable implemented here. Concept and execution is a winning formula. And if you're on point like that, it's hard for any defense to be able to stop that and not take advantage of, let alone one that has certain holes that you pinpointed like Washington's.
Yeah. And here's the touchdown on the Manny Sands. And I'll play that on paper. I imagine Brian Dable was expecting a single high coverage. It's all verticals concept. Usually you're going to try to attack the seams versus a one high look, but the football team plays a 2-high look here. And so Josh plays out of script. So on the snap, watches play, really nice orbit motion by McKenzie coming to the top of the screen. And that is really, again, just trying to get the defense to declare what they're playing here, play action, but immediate pressure. Josh gets immediate pressure as they pull Feliciano from the backside here. There's pressure in his face. And I think when Josh sets his feet, if there wasn't pressure, he's probably either going to the leak right here by Singletary, or with Manny Sands going on the bender route. I think they want to sneak Diggs right up the seam here. Again, all verticals. Think about it. If it was a 2x2 set, they're attacking the seams, and Josh would be looking one way. Say he looked to the right, he's going to throw to the left seam. But again, too high set, you can't run it that easily. And so it's kind of covered up right here. And with the pressure in Josh's face, he plays outside of script. Design of the play doesn't work, and he goes for broke. I mean, really, when he gets to this area of the field, he's kind of in trouble because most of his targets are on this side of the field, and he's got two options. Go for broke to Sands, moderate gain right here to McKenzie, or stay ahead of the chains and let me just take it with my legs and get some positive yardage. Well, this is Josh Allen. He goes for broke. He directs Manny Sands across the field to a by Landon Collins. Great, just communication from two guys that are playing together for the first time. And it's just Josh Allen showing you what sets him apart from most quarterbacks in the NFL.
We showed several clips to lead off this episode, and we talked about the headiness and the smarts of Josh Allen. Not that this play doesn't take that, but this play is talent and athleticism and working out of script and the physical attributes that Josh Allen possesses. Him to, sense the pressure right away, be able to escape and elude that, get outside the pocket, get outside contain, and do what, honestly, a lot of QBs who are successful in today's NFL are able to do working off script. Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, so on and so forth. Being able to work and orchestrate plays out of chaos is a big part in today's NFL. And this is just physical tools and raw, intangibles. I love this angle because there's, you hit on it. He really doesn't have anything. Like there's not really anything to this. It's 2nd and 9. He could probably take a couple yards on the ground, make it like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5. And again, as you started to highlight the line, this play doesn't work almost right off the bat. Ford steps inside, gets beat outside. And again, rough rep for Cody Ford. Feliciano starts to pull, but he can't contain. He gets caught in bad timing, bad rhythm. But
the other thing here, hold on. The other thing, Ant, though, is look what they're doing with Sweat. They're dropping him out. So there's really only 1, 2, 3 rushers. Again, if that's what you want to do for Josh Allen, okay, maybe you get pressure, maybe you don't. But if you can't bring him down, what happens, Ant? I mean, he makes plays like this.
Excellent point. Like if you're going to rush the 3, again, you've got to get there with the 3 and 2 get almost to him, but he does the little stall and then it's just like,
That's
okay,
a defensive
goodbye.
Tackle.
Yep, not going to happen. Just escapes almost right away. He's got a lot of green, and this is Josh Allen making a play and Manny Sands being a smart veteran receiver, running to the green grass, running to the open space. The throw from Allen is tremendously on point. The catch is almost better, if not just as good. I mentioned it earlier, this isn't a body catch. This isn't a cradle. He slides. He catches this with his hands. This is pure soft hands, hand-eye coordination. Just a tremendous play. I didn't think it had a shot of being caught when he threw it. I thought it was too low. I didn't think the trajectory was right. And this angle look at him just whip it with that motion, planting off the right foot and he's parallel to the sideline and just whips the cannon downfield. Manny Sands running to the green grass. He's got a good amount of space. Hell of a throw from not being set and from being off platform on the run to his right.
33-yard line to about 5 yards deep. And you talk about soft hands, dude. Crazy, bro.
As I was speaking, you're in my head. As I was speaking, I was trying to calculate and read the distance to call that out. I love that you mentioned it. Yeah, from the 33-yard line to about 5 yards deep, pinpoint spot. Defender can't do anything about it. Again, this is pretty good coverage in this instance from the safety. But also, as you mentioned to start this play, the play from the beginning was covered well. Washington is in a good spot to succeed here, but Buffalo just beats him because Josh Allen is able to extend the play, work outside of the script, has an understanding with Manny Sands, and the talent and the understanding wins out on this play. This play is really honestly a tough break for Washington, and it's a success for the Bills, not because of scheme, but just because of a great play by Josh Allen and Manny Sands.
Yeah, and we're going to move on to the next play. Another play where I know cool down a little bit because that was a hot play from Josh Allen, man.
I'm hot over here, man.
You're a little hot and flustered. No, here's a play where the design on 3rd and 1 really is just on point. Dable had a rough week. His grandmother had passed, and you heard Dawkins reference how this game was for him and his family. And man, look at this personnel group. And let's start with that. Kumaro, Davis, Gilliam, McKenzie, Diggs. I don't know. Is Gilliam a fullback? Is Gilliam a running back? Is Gilliam a tight end? I mean, you have him in the backfield, split backfield with McKenzie, 3rd and 1 situation. It's really a really nice run pass option. I want you to watch the guy I have circled. That's the safety. He is in man coverage with McKenzie. It appears that way anyways. 3rd and 1, recognize the play here. It's a nice run pass option. So on the snap, you have McKenzie again with that motion to the top of the screen. What is that doing? That's again, it's getting them leverage. This guy now has to scream across the field, or what Rex Ryan used to call rock and roll the safeties. Rock this guy down and roll him back. One of the two ways that has to be done. Now, if it's straight man coverage, this guy obviously we're just going across the field. They don't know exactly what they should be doing. One safety, this guy comes down and he's telling him to rock and roll. He doesn't. But what they're doing is they're reading the linebacker here. So as the ball snap, that linebacker right there, I think that's Davis, the rookie linebacker. He's the read. As McKenzie swings to the top of the screen, if he follows him, if he flashes out this way, along with everyone else fast flowing that way with the McKenzie swing route, well, man, now they have a QB draw right up the middle on 3rd and 1. That's a money play and probably a high percentage play for the Bills that Josh Allen's going to convert with how big he is. Well, that linebacker stays put. So now they have a hat on a hat. This guy releases up the field. They have a hat on a hat. They have leverage on whether either of these two safeties right here. Swing pass to McKenzie. He's up the field in a hurry. Burst down. Great script. Great play from Brian Dable.
And you hit it because this is 3rd and 1, this play design and this call here has such a high success rate. If McKenzie's open on the swing like he is here, dump it off, the odds of him getting 1 yard is high. If the linebacker vacates, okay, you keep it on the run, you draw with an athletic big quarterback, the odds of you getting 1 yard is once again high. I love, if you leave it right here, I love this because each safety is trying to communicate to the other, like, no, you, and they're both screwed. Like, they just can't do anything about it because of the play call and the motion. That safety is lined up, head up on McKenzie. McKenzie releases. He's trying to communicate to the free safety. The free safety is communicating to him. Neither of them are able to get there. Josh reads the linebacker. A simple, easy read. And again, a nice call against man coverage, single high safety, hashtag man free, hashtag cover one, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But yeah, it's just a great design and the safety getting caught. And it's, again, the big thing to take away, you mentioned it and I mentioned it right now, the high percentage aspect. It's 3rd and 1. You don't need some amazing touchdown or some world beater play. Good scheme, good concept. Look at the block there from Stephon Diggs. That is Stephon Diggs.
It's Davis.
Oh, it's Gabe Davis? My fault. Sorry, I'm not zoomed in now. Look at the block. Look at the block. Like, look at the block. He creates a legitimate alley with a seal for Isaiah McKenzie to make, again, high percentage, high success rate, easy cut. Oh, okay, cool. I don't have to, if I'm McKenzie, I don't have to set my block up. I don't have to decide if I'm going inside or outside. I see the effort and the seal from Gabe Davis, and I'm able to cut right off his butt because he's created that alley in that lane. Easy yardage, easy play. And it also, what's also nice too is if you look again how far Washington's front four, they got upfield right away. Again, this is taking advantage a little bit of that aggressiveness of Washington's front. Chase Young gets so far upfield right away. Like, if Allen had kept it, that's a legitimate gain. Like, everyone's flowing to the right. There's space in the middle. Chase Young is again caught out of position. They did a really good job of that in this game of neutralizing Chase Young. He's one of the best rushers and defensive players in all of football already, which is crazy considering he's only in his 2nd year. They neutralized him and took him out of position a lot just by scheme and concept, which again is a credit to Brian Dable.
Yeah, and here's another one of those plays from Dable that he uses some, different personnel groupings. You see Gilliam, Moss, Knox, McKenzie here, and Diggs to the top of the screen. And it's really just a play that puts these safeties in conflict here. And this is the pass I believe Josh sailed as there's a little pressure on him. And you'll see it from the end zone angle. I wonder if the wind was a factor on this play. Honestly, because the way the wind kind of takes it, and if you remember the kick by the Washington football team going in the same direction, kind of did the same thing. But you'll see this safety at the top of the screen right here. He thinks, a crosser's coming here, and these two guys just blow the coverage. I mean, just totally blow the coverage here. It's so bad. I don't understand what they're trying to do. And letting Diggs go here, they blow it. And again, the throw is off a little bit, but you'll see from the end zone angle, there is a little pressure on Josh, and he has to kind of jump so that he doesn't get his legs taken out from under him. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that because I want him healthy.
Fine.
Yeah, he kind of jumps right there as he gets high end load by the football team there, but I'm okay with it. But again, I don't know if the wind played a factor on this. It kind of sails from left to right here. And I don't think Josh was off that much, but talk about this play from the top and how, it was a missed opportunity, but just how Dable used the personnel groupings to put guys in conflict, man. He did a great job of using the personnel groupings, but also some of the route concepts to put guys like this safety right here, thinking that this mesh concept that we saw, this crossing route that we've seen before, like, look, he thinks that's coming, but there's no one to leverage back here. It was a good job by Dable. It's just unfortunate they were not able to execute.
Yeah, unfortunate they weren't able to execute, but to your point, it's a really good play design. And starting with that personnel grouping, you mentioned it on the previous play. When you've got personnel groupings like this and you've got them in different alignments or in different spots than you would be accustomed to seeing them if you're a defender, it just creates another little bit of mental, a little bit of mind games of like, okay, why is this guy lined up here? What is he going to do? How does that affect my responsibility? What can you do as an offense to attack and threaten the defense with that and create mismatches? And what up, Dobbs? I love his icon. I'm a big fan of cats, so that's a fun icon there for me. It's another layer to create conflict mentally.
And it did, right? I mean,
look, 1,000%. Look at the safety.
Look at the corner and the linebacker there.
Boom.
What they're doing to McKenzie, the flat.
Exactly. Leave it. Yeah, I love that you have it already still framed. Leave it there perfectly. Because the corner comes up, and this is, you and I were talking offline about some coverage stuff. I don't know if this was poor execution or what the coverage was. I was going back and forth between multiple coverages that I thought Washington was running here because it's just all over the place. And you see the corner, as soon as McKenzie releases, you see the corner come up. But the linebacker is also screaming out there to cover that flat. So it made me think, okay, did the corner make a misread here? Did the safety make a misread? But either way, this snapshot here that you've got the corner coming up, vacating the deep third, if that is his responsibility, coming up to make a play on McKenzie. And at the exact same time, boom, that safety right there is in complete conflict because right now at this point, the defense is screwed because if he vacates and he goes with Diggs up the seam, Knox is open over the middle. If he crashes and he slices and comes up against Knox like he does here, you've got Diggs wide open going up the seam. And the safety, he doesn't even fully commit up front. He just hesitates for a split second, and almost, again, because of what the play design is, you can almost see him being like, do I come up? No. Do I drop back? Okay, let me take a couple steps up.
Am I supposed to slice this crosser or not? He's like, oh, it's not the play. They're sending one crosser, but they're not sending that other crosser. He's like, oh shit moment. Yeah, it was an oh shit moment. And you see him backpedaling. He's like, damn, I'm screwed.
He hits that. Yeah, he hits that slow turn a little bit and tries to get vertical and maintain some responsibility. But because he had that split second hitch when he came forward, he's done and has nowhere to go. And Diggs has him up the field. And it's a good play design and concept just in a vacuum in and of itself. But even more so, like you mentioned, when you connect it to the crossers and the wave concept from earlier in the game, because again, you're making the defense think, boom, I know what this is. Here it comes. And then they're like, oh crap, this is not what I thought it was at all. And here's another example. I love that you highlighted it of another rush coming towards Josh Allen, where if you get so far upfield and you lose contain, look how much space Josh Allen has. He's got a perfect. This is like the type of window to throw that Drew Brees or Doug Flutie or tiny quarterbacks like would have dreamed of. There's nobody in their face. They've got space. The defensive tackle starts to spin and turn off a Ford, but that's because Allen stepped into it to avoid Chase Young. And I really think, again, to your point, like the wind here affected this throw, and it's a shame because there was so much space, but really good concept, really well coached, and good play design. And you've got a good play design and concept, whether it's the design of that play itself or in tandem with another play that you called earlier, when you make defenders literally second and triple guess themselves and be like, no, I should do that. No, I should do that. I'm just going to stand here because I don't know what to do.
Yeah, man, it was a great design. It just sometimes you're just not on the same page. But here's a play that, again, teams are you saw it in the AFC Championship game last year against the Chiefs. The Chiefs found ways to bracket both Diggs and Beasley. And you're going to see the football team take away Beasley. So they're motioning Beasley down into a bunch set right there. And he's running a little option route. So he's going to read this guy, usually out route, in route, or he'll just curl it up. So he's reading the leverage. But as you guys can see, they have him bracketed inside and out right there. So Beasley's out, and he is the primary guy on this play, on this option route, especially when we're talking money downs like third down, like it is to the top of the screen. You can see the marker, third down and medium. So he's taken away. Well, that gives Manny Sands an easy crossing route right here. So again, when teams want to take away Beasley, when they want to take away Diggs is to the bottom. He's got a corner underneath, and he's got a safety rolled over the top of him. So when they want to take away the primary playmakers in Diggs and Beasley, Josh Allen has to move on. He has to move on quickly and find his other weapons. And on this play, it was Manny Sands. Watch it from the end zone angle. It's a beautiful play because Josh doesn't have his mechanics on this play. He doesn't have his platform. He's able to still complete this throw. Look, again, looking to the right, waiting for Beasley to declare his route. Now he's looking at Manny Sands coming across the middle here. Doesn't pull the trigger yet. So he goes back to Beasley. Beasley's not open. Now, guess what? I'm not able to flip my hips. I'm just going to use my arm talent and get it to Manny Sands for the first down. Beautiful play from Josh Allen.
We've talked about it before. Things don't always go to plan. I mean, they did a lot in this game for the offense, but sometimes things don't work out as you drew it up. And I love being able to see Josh Allen go through his progression here and look at his primary and his secondary and see the coverage. And then almost he turns and throws this to Sanders. Not only does he throw it off platform without his lower body, he almost throws it with kind of like he knows he's there. It's almost like a sixth sense. Like he's not even completely looking at him. Like if you look at it right there, like Sanders is about to cross his face, but he's not really super focused on Sanders. He's still reading that right half of the field. And as you pointed out, the defender comes screaming into Allen. Allen feels that pressure and almost with a sixth sense just turns and fires on point to Manny Sands with all upper body, all arm. He's not able to step into it. It's an off-platform throw, and it stems from reading the coverage, going through your progressions, and it's just like he knows where Manny's going to be. And again, this is a nice one because this is another good play call from Washington. They've got the primary and the secondaries locked up. They get some pressure up front, but even when they win, they're still not able to actually win because Josh Allen finds a way out. And also I want to point on this play, really quality route from Sanders. He runs it right at the marker. He gets flat. He doesn't drop too deep or waver in his route. It's a nice, crisp, clean route over the middle. He doesn't gain too much depth. He doesn't come too shallow. Smart, heady play. He knows where the marker is. Another quarterback-friendly route. And just, look at awesome freeze frame for you. You're killing it in the freeze frames in this episode. Like, the one you just had of Allen throwing, like, again, there is no lower body in that. It's just he cannot step into this throw whatsoever.
It's all in the hips. Just watch his hips, watch his core. Look at him, that torsion, that torque in his core right there. It's all in the hips, man. That's all that is right there.
He's still even when he throws it, like right there. Leave it when the ball is released from his hand. Technically, his body is still square to like the hash mark. He's not even pointed towards Manny with his body, with his feet, with his hips, like with the alley, none of it. He just makes this with all arm and torque coming across the body. He's square almost to Mitch Morse. He's not in position to make this throw to Manny Sands, and he makes it in the blink of an eye, on point, pinpoint pass, a dime of a throw, and it also came from his progression and his read. So again, it's a small gain, it's a first down, but it's a sign of how on point Josh Allen was this game and how on point this offense was.
Yeah, and here's a shot called to Diggs on a Dino post, similar to the route that you saw him, that went incomplete a few plays before. But another really good read. They're just reading the safety 1 versus 2 high. And again, you got that little bracket, to kick off this route by Diggs. But Josh is, really disciplined with his eyes, looks to the top of the screen, and this guy is even with Diggs. And if you're even, you're leaving. And that's Diggs to the middle of the field versus middle of the field open, leaves that guy in the dust. Unfortunately, the ball does go incomplete. Could have been a flag there. Thought there would have been a flag, but there isn't. But just think about this. You saw what the wind did to the ball in this game and where Josh is, look where Josh is throwing this from and the velocity on it. And it misses by a mere couple inches. Just a great call, a great aggressive play action fake. Look at the pocket. I mean, that's the other thing that the Bills did with their play action is, when a team is seeing play action, they're thinking these guys are firing out. Look at these guys, helmets down low. They're firing out like it's a run. The defensive linemen have to process like it is a run. So they get into their run fits, but more importantly, it allows guys like Cody Ford, Darrell Williams to get up into the body of those defensive linemen. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Here, it creates a really nice pocket for Josh, and he's able to set and throw the ball down the field there, but unfortunately goes incomplete.
Yeah, it's a shame. Again, another solidly designed play, good pocket. Josh has plenty of room to step up, plenty of space to see the field and see what he's got going on in front of him. Another coverage scheme from Washington where I was like, man, they just miscommunicated or did not execute here on the back end because Diggs just gets wide open. That lower safety needs to be dropping deep earlier or just committing in some regard. He's just kind of, again, like lost in the sauce a little bit and in the wash, just kind of, do I come up? Do I drop deep? What should I do? And then as he's trying to think of all that, Diggs just gets right by him. And the aggressiveness for me is you talked about everything technical from this play, so I don't want to go into it too much, but I like the aggressiveness of it. This is a first down play. Take the shot, and it's into the wind. So maybe the defense is even thinking it's into the wind. He's not going to make this throw, or he can't make this throw. They're not going deep. And instead, Allen uncorks about like a 53, 54 yard pass into the wind that is almost a touchdown, right on point. I'm a Bills guy, so I wish it was a flag, but I like the no call. I'm a defense guy, so I like that they let that one go. But great route from Diggs, great play design, great pocket, good blocking up front. Beautiful throw from Josh in terms of distance and into the wind. Oh, it's so close. This one hurts me. Even though like we won handedly, this one, I wanted this one. I wanted the deep shot. I wanted to get Diggs going, and it was such a good play call. But, all's well that ends well. But good play from the Bills, and just, again, something that they forced Washington's hand on the back end and forced them into a mistake.
Yeah, and here's another play, another throw from Josh Allen to Cole Beasley. This is to the top of the screen. Beasley in the slot, Manny Sands out wide. This is that two-man route concept that the Bills love to run. Last year, you saw Gabriel Davis score on a bunch of these plays. Well, they'll work this slot route, this option route, and what they want to do is get this corner to the top of the screen to kind of bite on that. And he doesn't here. He does a good job of getting his eyes on Josh and not really falling off, making the read really easy for Josh to throw the honey hole shot. But he muddies the read for Josh here. And so Josh gets caught with Beasley. You see the collision with Beasley, and I think that's Fuller, number 29. But you see Beasley does uncover. But Josh, again, he's working the pocket there. He's got a lot of the pocket's in his lap, really, and you'll see it from the end zone angle. But Josh keeps his eyes downfield. He works the pocket, as you'll see here, and he just moves on from the honey hole shot. And watch Morse. You see the guy coming here and then he swings back this way, but watch Allen keep his eyes downfield and work off of Morse there. Morse gets back into position, anchor recovery, locks him down right there. Josh slides to his left just a little bit, and then off platform throw here. Look at this. I mean, this just looks odd. I mean, it just looks odd, but you got the separation with Cole Beasley, and he's able to get it there for a really nice pitch and catch. Again, this was probably one of those plays like, hey, Josh, take the shot if it's there. Take the honey hole shot. But the corner did a good job muddying that read. And so Josh had to extend the play from the pocket, manipulate the pocket, and make the throw to Cole Beasley.
Again, another one where, like you called it, the corner slow plays it, does a really good job gumming up the works for Josh and the offense here. But even when Washington seems like they're able to win, they're still not able to fully win. And Josh, again, creates this play. This is a big thing for Josh Allen in terms of the evolution of his game, because this to me is another one of those next steps for a quarterback. Like, how do you make everyone around you better? And I think a lot of times people think about it for a quarterback in terms of your receivers and the ball placement and your reads. But what do you do in the pocket to make your offensive line better? Not every quarterback has an all-pro line in front of them, and sometimes your guys get beat. And Josh is just able to navigate the pocket, step out. I love that he doesn't take that shot there. He takes what's given to him because of the pressure in his face, the situation, the game. It's just a lot of things being processed all at once.
You talk about taking what's being given to you. If that corner is playing Beasley tighter, if he is closer and his eyes are on Allen and Beasley running that little out route, well, then Josh is going to have that honey hole shot. But again, it was a little murky. He plays the corner plays it a little soft. Well, Josh is just going to take the Cole Beasley throw.
Yeah, why not? There's no reason to risk the honey hole shot there, especially with the way the corner's playing. Cole's going to separate. And when you combine that with the pressure in your face right there, take what the defense gives you. Again, live to fight another day. It's a third down. Just get the conversion, get the first down. Let's keep moving the ball down the field. Smart, heady play from Josh Allen. In addition to, again, you mentioned it, some really, I can't believe he makes that throw so off platform like that. Again, he's just like, that's arm talent right there.
That's how you know he's on point. That's how you know he's in rhythm, right?
There's just no, he shouldn't be able to complete that. He's got pressure in his face. He's, again, I guess he's kind of square to Beasley, but he's on a 45-degree angle upfield. His feet aren't set. He's not got nothing in his lower body given this throw. It's just all arm talent. And with just a little flick of the wrist, Beasley separates. Also, again, look at Fuller's a good corner, and Beasley just gets into his body, pops back out. That's another point that we should really talk about. Cole Beasley's such a good route runner. He separates so quickly, gets inside, and just Fuller's leaning on him. Beasley can sense that. Beasley drops the hips and drives at the top of that route so far and so hard that Fuller has to drop down and use his hand to brace himself on the ground because of how fast and quick and with so much explosion Beasley dropped the hips and popped out. Great route, great decision by Josh. Take what the defense gives you, live to fight another day, and continue the drive.
Yeah, and we're going to move on in the game a little bit. We're getting a little behind here. I think we're there. Some of those plays by Josh Allen, we kind of got hung up on because they were just that ridiculous.
We could be here for like 3 hours talking about all this. Like, that's how good they were.
Yeah, this is the isolation route to Knox to the bottom of the screen. So, you talked about using motion, using shifts to identify and uncover what the defense is in. Well, you got Dawson Knox split out wide to the bottom. You have Holcomb on him. Cole Holcomb, not Kelly. I wanted to say Kelly, but it's Cole Holcomb, linebacker for
Bill's legend Kelly
Holcomb. Yeah. That's a whole show in itself. So you have the matchup, and Dawson talked about it after the game that he had an idea that once he saw who was on him, again, we can talk about the X's and O's and all of that, but what it comes down to is players making plays. And Dawson Knox said, hey, I had an idea I was going to get the ball here versus Holcomb. Holcomb and all of the linebackers for Washington were targeted in this game. And so Josh makes an easy alert type read. So you'll see the safety post snap drop down to the middle of the field, rob that middle of the field. You see him trying to rob the shallow cross from Manny Sands. Well, guess what? Then that means I'm one-on-one right here. Dawson Knox, great athlete versus a linebacker who actually is quite athletic for a linebacker. But the throw, it's not one of those 50-50 balls, man. He put a little more juice on this than a jump ball normally has, especially when you have the wind going from it. And you heard Dawson Knox talk about, Josh threw it with some pace on it. You could tell he heated up just a little bit so that he's not waiting for the ball to drop down into him. he's really got to catch it with his hands here. He's not in his head. That's one thing with Dawson Knox. His drops, they're always like the easy catches, right? They're always the ones that are just like gimmies right at his eye level. Josh doesn't really give him that type of throw. And what do you know? Dawson Knox is able to get, able to catch the ball inbounds for the touchdown.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. He has to go up and snatch this football. Like, this isn't like, okay, let me wait for this to come to me or right at my face. He goes up, snatches this ball out of the air with his hands. I love this play. I don't think the Bills necessarily need like a dominant tight end, but Dawson Knox, he's going to be a mismatch for most linebackers in the NFL. He's tremendously athletic. He's fast. He can move well. I think he's a better route runner than people give him credit for, but a lot of it is due to his athleticism. If the Bills can have plays like this where they can just take advantage of a mismatch, again, this is, look at the separation look at the ball placement from Allen on that outside shoulder, back shoulder type throw. And look at how Knox is able to separate, jump up and snag this ball to the point that the safety coming over for help here immediately looks and kind of signals to the ref like, oh, he pushed off, like pass interference. No, it's not even close. He just,
but that's a great thing, because one of my weaknesses for Knox over the years has been his lack of physicality.
Yes.
When he's trying to release off the line of scrimmage, when he's working through traffic, he's easily bumped off routes. He took it to Holcomb on this play, and you saw it. There was some contact and some separation created from Knox. But that's a good thing. Like, I want to see that from him.
Oh, 1,000%. I want to see him take advantage of that athleticism, that physicality. We've seen him use that physicality when the ball is in his hands. We've seen the juggernauts type runs where he puts his head down and runs dudes over, but he can use that physicality when he's running his when he's running his routes in the passing game. Travis Kelce does it. Darren Waller does it. Going back, Tony Gonzalez did it. Antonio Gates do it. Being physical in your route running can be a tremendous tool, and you let off with it. And I thought that was the biggest point here. Scheme is great and play design and concepts, but sometimes the easiest thing is just to be like, my dude is better than your dude, or my dude is faster than your dude, or bigger, or whatever. The old Randy Moss thing where, no, my guy's too big and too fast, and I'm just going to send him deep and throw it up, and he's going to catch it. This is so quarterback friendly, and this is such a tremendous piece for that he is the angry run king. I love that. This is such a big piece if Knox can continue to be this for this offense, because again, this is a simple read and a simple alert. Oh, cool. You're going to rob the middle of the field and drop that other safety. I've got one-on-one with my big athletic tight end against your coverage linebacker who's decent enough, but not at the same level of athlete. Cool. I'm just going to fire it out there. And you also highlighted the pocket a bit ago. This is a good protection scheme from the Bills up front. They create a nice little pocket. Allen's got some time. He's comfortable. He's able to step into this throw, look, and fire. The opposite of what we saw from a lot of the other off-platform throws. He's able to get square and make this throw. They run a nice little stunt inside, but it gets picked up. And look at Moss in the backfield.
Yeah, a little nudge block up the middle.
Very nice. I like, this is a talk for another time. I like Devin Singletary a lot. Moss is RB1 for me, and part of it is because of his pass protection. Just gets that little chip right there, just gets inside, and just is able to, look how he like works in tandem with his offensive lineman. Look how he works in tandem with John Feliciano. They don't collide. They don't walk into each other. Moss knows how to support and help with that little chip and that little nudge in the center of the field. A nice little molly block, as we used to call it in high school. I really appreciate that block from Moss. And, I love that catch from Knox. Woo!
Yeah, there's a nice play. And you're going to see Knox on this play in the backfield in what the Bills call a stack look right here. Now, if Knox was over here, that is their slant formation. But this is a stack call. You're going to see a nudge block. So you're going to see a nice little chip right here on Chase Young on this play. But this is another shot call. And this is the one up the seam to Manny Sands to the top of the screen. I don't know, honestly, what kind of coverage you're playing here. You see Beasley and Moss shift right there. And, this guy was already out there. And when the ball snapped, he goes to Beasley. So they switch there. And either way, it's a nice little route combo. But the pace on this route and eyes, you can't see it really from this angle, but watch the pace by Sands. And then if you can just watch just his body language and how he almost sounds like he's going to be running a speed out. That's usually what you'd see here. And he doesn't, obviously. He continues up the seam, and Josh, under duress, drops it in the bucket. And this is one of those throws that, whether Josh had his mechanics or not, from the time he came into the league, he's not a seam ball thrower. He really doesn't throw down the seam all that often. But you see him play action fake right here. And again, kind of under duress, but he's able to drop it in there to Manny Sands. I mean, right on his fingertips, able to haul it in. Just a really nice play by the Bills, and execution. I mean, the throw by Josh was just on point.
It was, this throw was reminiscent of the Aaron Rodgers fadeaway throws that we've seen for so long, where he just is rolling to his left and he fades away, drops it in the bucket to Devontae Adams or Greg Jennings or Donald Driver or whoever for so long. That was point number one for me. But actually, a strong 1A or 1B is the route by Sands. I love that you mentioned, I love how he slow plays it coming out of the break, and you can watch. I love it when you're in slow-mo here. You can watch when he explodes, he waits, and he sees right there when the corner is about to be flat-footed. So again, right here, he's still slow playing it. He's closing down the space and the distance between him and the defender. And when he sees that he's got that defender flat-footed, and right there, he's got the defender thinking like, oh, okay, you're going to go outside. Let me start to stand pat because I need to break outside. He's like, and he turns on the jets, and he just gets, like you mentioned earlier, if you're even, you're leaving, and he just gets by him. Defender gets caught flat-footed. He's not on the balls of his feet. He's not in position to turn and run, and he gets left in the dust by a 34-year-old smart, heady receiver. And, I love the throw from Allen. I love the catch from Manny Sands. I love the seam. But again, to highlight, you asked me in the lead-in about Manny Sands, veteran presence. He doesn't just come out and say, okay, I need to get vertical, so let me just sprint as fast as I can as soon as this play is called and as soon as the ball is snapped. No, he uses his head combined with his physical gifts and that he has, and just mentally confuses and causes problems for the defender. Oh, right. There it is. It's just so every time I just want to like stop it and stare at it.
He's like crazy legs. He's got really skinny legs, but those legs and how he runs and manipulates his stride, it's almost like Crazy Legs from Don't Be a Menace, dude. Like the dude in the wheelchair with the crazy leg, wishes he was MC Hammer. Like he's got those crazy legs, and it really throws his body behavior, throws that corner off. And then it's just, again, down the seam. He's gone. Like, you cannot be flat-footed against this guy. He still has that speed even at 34.
Yes. And what are defenders reading when receivers or route runners are in? They're watching, like, the receiver's hips and seeing what they're going to do. And Manny makes it seem like, oh, no, I'm throttling down. I'm about to go out. Psych! And just gets upfield right away in the blink of an eye. Leaves the defender in the dust. Oh, man, this was a fun game.
Yeah, and so we're at the end of the breakdown, and what do you know? It's another Manny Sands play for the touchdown here. So I really like this play from top to bottom. Another play that Brian Dable and his scouting staff did a great job of scouting the coverage that the football team was going to play on this. It's just cover 2, but they call it red cover 2. It's slightly different because you're in that condensed area of the field. So Bills are running in what they call their D pivot. So that is a diagonal route by the running back to the flats. That's Moss. And then you're going to have an inside release by Manny Sands. He's going to get vertical. And then based on the coverage, based on this corner is technically rolled up because it's a cover 2 look. So he is taught to run the bow route. So that is, you'll see him get to the top of the route and just run an out route right along the back line for the touchdown here. And so you're going to see 1, 2, and if Josh needs it, here his shallow cross is number 3 by Knox. Easy read here, especially when they get the coverage they expect. So red 2 here from the football team. Josh immediately takes a snap, 1-step drop, 0 1-step drop. Immediately right there, he's at that right around that 7-yard mark. He's looking to Moss, and what does that do? That holds St. Juice right there, right? So he holds. Okay, that gives Manny Sands a free release. Now you see Cameron Curl. He has to somehow get on his horse and get over the top to leverage this route. Really, really bad position for him to be in. But, Manny Sands, he adds a little sauce to this. What does he do? He takes, you can't see it from here, but from the broadcast angle, you see Manny Sands look to his left right around here. And usually when a receiver looks to his left, he's usually going to be breaking to the right inside here. So that gets Curl, the safety, to kind of stop right there. You see him kind of hitch right there. And then now you see Sand break outside here. And take a look at this throw from Josh Allen here. It's got to be up and over the top of Holcomb and Knox, right? But it's got to be away from this corner, and it's got to be away from this safety breaking on the ball. I mean, just ridiculous stuff here. He fits it in there. Sands is able to haul it in along the back line, which Josh Allen and Brian Dable love to work. They love to work those back line throws, whether they're in or out breaking routes. Just phenomenal stuff to finish this breakdown from Josh Allen, Brian Dable, and Manny Sands.
The eye manipulation and the subtle almost like half pump from Allen to get the corner to come up is so beautiful to create this. Like, it's about to come up right here. You mentioned it. He looks out that way, and there it is. Like, he starts to kind of cock his gun a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why St. Juice is like, oh, boom, this is going to the flats. I'm coming up to make this play. Allen does that. Okay, cool. You're out of position now. And then the throw is pinpoint beautiful, but you hit it on the head for me. The broadcast angle shows it so much better. Sands like fakes like a little bit and delays like he's going inside because he knows that Curl is in position to make a break and a play on this ball. He's already leaning that way. He's already running that way. If Manny just cuts out, granted he's got some distance between them, but Curl can just keep sprinting. He might be able to make a play on this ball. So Manny, with his body language and with his head, gets Curl to kind of stop his pursuit and his coverage and is like, okay, maybe I need to settle down a little bit. And as he's thinking that, Manny again kicks it up to full speed, gets to the back of the end zone.
So smooth. Yeah.
Creates that separation. And man, it's just so many things worked well in this game for the Buffalo Bills, whether it was the route running or the play call or the throw from Josh Allen or the step up in the pocket from Josh Allen, whatever have you. This is another one where Josh just created a lot of things. His receiver, look at where the ball, I'm just going to stop talking as you circle the ball right there. Like, it's got, because you hit it, it's got to go over the linebacker at the front of the goal line. It's got to be far enough inside that St. Juice can't make a play coming back on it from the outside, but it's also got to be far enough outside that Cameron Curl can't make a play coming over the top. And
ridiculous.
It hits him right in the breadbasket. And ridiculous, it's just, man, that feels good. And it's, man, he probably would have done even better if he was able to like play in front of crowds. So that would have been awesome.
Man, we really touched it all in this episode, man. I tell you what. Yeah, full stadium, and Josh put up, man. He balled out. It was a fun breakdown. Appreciate everyone joining us for this live film room breakdown of Josh Allen versus the football team. It was great to do this again live. We haven't been able to do that partly because of Anthony's schedule, being out of the country or not. Partly, mainly because of the NFL Game Pass and
all 22
the debacle and not having access to the all 22. But we made things work. We appreciate everyone tuning in, still watching 250 plus. We appreciate it on this Tuesday night. But with that said, you're back to work, brother. You're, back to the grind, as they say, but it's a fun one. I'll tell you what, it's fun to break down film. It's fun to analyze and talk about the Bills. So let everyone know where they can find you and what you have going on this week.
Find me on Twitter at pro__ant. That's pro 2_ANT. You can find me as the host of Disguise Coverage live Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Wednesdays are that go-to night. Got Disguise Coverage at 7 and then the Cover One preview show at 9 later on Wednesday. So Disguise Coverage Wednesdays live at 7 p.m. You can also find me as one of 3 co-hosts on the Cover One Fantasy Show live on Thursday nights at 7:30, 7:45, leading you into Thursday Night Football. And then you can also find me as one of the co-hosts on the Cover One post game every time after Bills games complete, regardless of what day of the week they are on. And then you'll find me here on the film room with Eric Turner. So I'm in a lot of places.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure, man. We love all of your work. If you guys don't know, you should know by now. I mean, Anthony is an up and comer, man. Obviously, that's why We brought him on board last year, and he's just been trending up the entire time. And he's a grinder and a good guy. He knows his shit. So when he says Manny fucking Sands is that dude, he is that dude. And we showed you it in the film room. So don't just remember where you heard it. All right. No, we appreciate everyone tuning in. That's Anthony Prohaska, Disguise Coverage. And as he said, 10 other shows and all types of content at Cover One. I'm your host, Eric Turner, and we will see you next week in the film room. Take it easy, guys.